Hello, everyone. Good morning. Welcome. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Alicia, Marketing Manager for the UK at CoSquare, and I'm delighted to have you this Monday morning. Today, we're here to explore the findings from CoSquare's 2026 Influencer Marketing Budget Report, which looks at how brands are allocating spend, where costs are rising, and what's driving measurable ROI. Before we dive in, I'd like to introduce our special guest, Jamie Love, who is the CEO and founder of Monumental. And Jamie will be joining me later on for a deeper discussion as he is actually in the budget report himself. But let's just bring him on now to say a quick hello.
Yes, good morning, and thank you so much for having me. As Elisa mentioned, I'm Jamie. I'm the CEO and founder of Monumental. We do a lot of influencer marketing campaigns, so I'm hoping that we can have a really valuable discussion and kind of get into the nitty-gritty of it.
Yeah, let's do it. And then I'd also like to introduce you to my colleague Morgan, who will be sharing something very special for agencies attending the webinar today. So please do look out for that. You want to say hello, Morgan?
Yeah, thanks. Hi, everybody. I'm Morgan. I'm the Partnerships Manager at CoSquare. So I'm really excited to join this webinar and tell you more about our CoSquare Partner Program, which is designed to help agencies to grow the business and strengthen their influencer marketing offer. So thank you for having me today.
Amazing. And before we jump into the insights, a quick introduction to CoSquare for anyone who's new here. CoSquare is Europe's leading influencer marketing platform. We're trusted by brands like Coca-Cola, Netflix, Refi, and many more to manage and measure their creator campaigns. And our platform helps marketers, brands, and agencies discover the right creators, run campaigns end-to-end, and prove ROI using our big data, powerful AI analytics across a varied amount of social media channels. Amazing. So let's jump into the key takeaways from the budget report to set the scene before we dive deeper with Jamie. So the first highlight is influence takes center stage. Marketing budgets are flat at about 7.7% of revenue. But the shift is that brands are redirecting 20 to 30% of that spend into influencer marketing, and in some cases as high as 50%. And the reason why is that traditional channels are struggling to deliver the same ROI. More micro and nano collaborations are driving engagement, but they're also harder to manage, which is exactly why data-led solutions are becoming essential. The second one is costs are rising fast. Another key finding from the report is that creator fees alone have risen by 30 to 50%, driven by demand for higher creative quality, rights usage, and competition. But fees are just one part of the picture. Brands are also spending more on tools, subscriptions, and the time it takes to manage these relationships. And then you add in compliance and legal needs, and the true cost of influencer marketing is bigger than many people anticipate. Number three is a big one. So one of the biggest shifts we've seen this year is how sales pressure is reshaping the role of influencer marketing. So affiliate, TikTok Shop, and UGC are all making budgets work much, much harder. We're seeing performance budgets rise as marketers are pushed to show direct results. But what's really interesting here is that brands aren't abandoning awareness campaigns. They've realized that top of the funnel moments are still crucial to feed performance later on. It's not an either or situation, it's both. And in fact, most brands we spoke to now track at least 4 KPIs per campaign, things like awareness, engagement, conversion, earned media value, and also brand lift. Showing just how kind of connected the whole funnel has become for influencer marketing. So I think the key takeaway here is that influence is no longer just about visibility or clicks. It's about how every creator touchpoint contributes to measurable business outcomes. The fourth one is another clear theme here from this year's findings is that tech and data have become completely non-negotiable. Data platforms and AI, sorry, are no longer nice to haves. They're now mandatory. They're mandatory budget lines in brands and agencies forecasting for everything from creator discovery and campaign tracking to performance optimization. And I think marketers are demanding dashboards that kind of go beyond the vanity metrics. They want to see exactly how creators' content drives measurable action, from like add to cart, CPA, and even kind of looking at the bigger picture here, customer lifetime value as well. And of course, automation is playing a huge role here too, whether it's payments, reporting, or compliance. Freeing up time through tech allows teams to focus on what really matters, which is the strategy and the relationships. So the big question here is, how should you structure your influencer marketing budget in 2026? Our research suggests a really practical framework. So talent and activation should be 50 to 60%. So the bulk of the spend should still go directly into creators, content, and campaign execution. But here it's about balance, allocating across tiers, whether that's nano, micro, macro, or even celebrity creators, and investing in longer term ambassadorships and not just one-offs. Paid amplification is the next one. So 15 to 25% should be allocated here. And this means boosting top performing creator content across paid media is now standard. It ensures reach beyond organic and allows precise targeting to your core audience, which is very important. The next one is tools and tech. 10 to 15% of the budget should go here. Increasingly seen as a must-have. Platforms for discovery, tracking, reporting, and really like AI-led insights are, again, no longer a must-have, but it's a key to not only efficiency, but ROI at the end of the day. And lastly, production and admin, 5 to 10%. So covering things like creative direction, briefing, contracts, compliance, and campaign management. These are kind of seen as hidden costs, often getting overlooked, but they're really essential for scaling effectively. So I think the crucial point is flexibility. Budget should allow you to respond to emerging opportunities, whether that's experimenting with new platforms like TikTok Shop, testing performance-driven influencer affiliate models, let's say, or doubling down on creators who have proven their long-term value. Morgan, should I pass over to you?
Thank you, Alicia. So let me tell you a bit more about the CallSquare Partner Program and how it can help your agency grow and stand out in the influencer marketing space. So basically at CallSquare, how you already know, we work with leading brand agencies who rely on the platform to make influencer marketing smarter, more transparent and more effective. But what we've realized over time is that agencies are the real growth drivers of this ecosystem. So agencies, you are the ones shaping strategies, building relationships, and helping brands make an impact. So that's exactly why we built the CallSquare Partner Program. So first, it's about growing your revenue. So whether you choose a referral or reseller model, you will earn competitive commissions and or margins on every client you bring. So it's a simple, rewarding way to generate recurring income while adding value to your existing portfolio. Second, it helps you strengthen your client offer. So by partnering with CallSquare, you get access to a trusted influencer marketing platform, one that empowers you to manage campaigns, analyze performance, and deliver real return on investments. So it's a great way to enhance your services and also boost your clients' confidence in your recommendation. Third, it's about visibility and credibility. So as a Coursera partner, you will receive our official partner badge. We also will highlight your success through joint case studies and co-marketing opportunities. So it's a really fantastic way to position your agency as an expert and attract new clients. First, you always stay ahead, so partners get early access to new features, beta tests, and also exclusive industry insights. So we always be one step ahead of market trends and ready to deliver innovation to your clients before anyone else. And finally, we know that partnerships only work when both sides feel supported. So that's why you will get dedicated resources, training, and a direct line to your team. So you will always have the right tools and the right people behind you. And in short, this program is really designed to help your agency grow faster, stand out for the competition, and also build stronger relationships with a trusted partner by your side. So if this resonates with you and you would like to explore how we could collaborate, you will have the opportunity to book a meeting with me after this session, so we can discuss your specific goals, your client needs, and more specifically how the Cosplay Partner Program can best support your goals. So I will really be thrilled to continue the conversation with you and hopefully welcome you soon as one of our Cosplay partners. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Morgan. Cool. Let's jump in with Jamie now. Jamie, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. So yeah, I'm Jamie, CEO and founder of Monumental. We've been running influencer marketing campaigns for 8 years, kind of across industries, across the world. Yeah, lots of really interesting insights, but I think the most important stuff is that what we're seeing and what we've seen definitely aligns with the report that you guys shared. So yeah, really interested to jump into the discussion.
Yeah, let's do it. So obviously you're in the budget report, Jamie, and you said the shift is from influence as a brand play to influence as a sales channel. As an agency leader working with global brands and also UK brands, how are you seeing that shift play out like on the ground?
Yeah, I mean it's been really interesting because I feel like influencer almost started as a very almost like PR-y thing, which was like a kind of sit in the gray area and nice to invite some influencers and kind of hope for the best. And I feel like the change from that to kind of where we are now to like these people are sale drivers, they're the engine that kind of keeps the content pumping and that kind of brand visibility and clicks and engagement. I think the interesting thing that we're seeing now is kind of even the brands themselves, like what they ask of us even before a campaign or an engagement starts. So in terms of like forecasts and almost like mapping out that full sort of expected journey from what's the reach, what's the engagement, what does that mean for us, and what happens on site. And I guess the great thing about it is that people are taking it a lot more seriously, and I think the changes in spend that you mentioned are definitely reflected in kind of how strategically they're looking at this activity.
Yeah.
And I think that's obviously a lot more achievable with micro and nano creators, where that kind of initial fee is lower, but then coupled with the like interest-based algorithms where actually followers don't count as much.
Yeah.
That's where the real opportunity is. And I think what we're having to do a lot is kind of manage what a client needs, what they want, and what they have in their mind. And a lot of the time that doesn't really align.
Yeah.
So, they'll want the TikTok thing because that's the TikTok thing, but actually they don't have a TikTok shop product. And it's kind of like, yeah, but we want sales. So I think there's a lot more kind of hand holding and kind of thinking longer term and strategically about the activity. Whereas I think before it was a lot more kind of creative and relaxed.
Yeah, I guess you answered my next question as well, which was
fabulous.
which is amazing. So, yeah, kind of like brands are approaching it differently. And do you think I guess you answered it already, but like, do you think they've struck the right balance between kind of more performance-led tactics versus brand equity building strategies or collaborations?
Overall, I would say no.
Yeah.
I guess we're at that kind of intersection at the moment of like they want it all, but they're not sure of what they should let go of first.
Yeah.
So I guess what we're finding is there's a lot. For example, if we recommend one type of campaign and one type of channel and one type of creator, that's going to achieve their kind of overarching goal, which will be, sales or customer acquisition in some form. We'll still kind of leave some budget aside for some of the kind of nice to have stuff, just so that it kind of ticks all the boxes.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say that based on the types of briefs and conversations we're having, it does very much point to that intersection of like, we know what it can do, but we know what it's always done, and how do we kind of get the best of both worlds. So that's definitely what I'm seeing, especially in the last 2 weeks as well.
Okay. Do you think that's seasonal? Is it a seasonal thing, or you think it's throughout the year this is the case?
I think it'll always be the case, and
Yes.
I think it will just keep growing. But I think as we kind of go forward, I think that it'll probably be a lot more specific in terms of actually we don't really need the nice to have stuff anymore, because this is driving what we need it to drive. And we all know, like, marketing budgets are under scrutiny, like especially in the UK, where like costs have risen and cost of living and stuff like that. So in terms of like what we're finding, and I'm sure every agency on this call is in the same boat, is hi, we want twice as much as what we did last year, but we want it for a third less. And it's kind of like, right, okay, okay.
Yeah, there's
So
like a managing expectation side of it as well, isn't there? Yeah, definitely. And I guess, to what you said, I bet you're finding kind of brands and your clients expecting kind of dashboards that connect kind of creator output directly to CPA, CLV, that kind of thing, right? So at Monumental, like, how do you bring together data and creativity so clients don't just chase numbers, but are also building that long-term piece? Like, what's your take on that?
Well, I think because we come at it from a kind of growth agency, which means there's a real performance angle to it, what we always try and do is understand what's the channel that's driving good growth now, and use that as the benchmark. Because I think what we've done in conversations in the past, it's kind of like, yeah, but this is good. Like, the numbers look good, but what does that mean? And is it good for influencer? Is it good for you? And stuff like that. So what we're doing now, and increasingly so, is that we are sort of pinned up against performance on the influencer or creator side of things. So it's like, okay, I know on Meta I can achieve X amount with this amount. Could we outdo that with creators? And we use that as the benchmark. And use that as then the thing we kind of optimize against, of like, okay, yeah, we are getting a much higher engagement and a much higher click-through, but we're not maybe getting quite the conversion, but we know we can with these creators or this type of content. So without, I guess, planning on it, it has become this kind of performance channel that we optimize like we would a Meta campaign.
Yeah, definitely. And it's that same old kind of age-old debate whether influencer marketing has better ROI than traditional media, right? So that's exactly what you're balancing here. And as you said as well, like, and as the report shows, creator fees are climbing because of other variables like cost of living and all of that, social, politics, economics of the world. They're climbing 30 to 50%, and compliance is more demanding than ever. So are you finding that in the UK, that brands are getting more cautious, or are they willing to invest more strategically when it comes to selecting the creators themselves?
I think with our brands, again, because we come at it from a very performance point of view, we wouldn't really put, like, we have benchmarks for each creator, and that gives us a range of what we feel is fair for the type of impact that we think they can generate based on previous stuff. So we would never put someone forward, like, I don't know, say the campaign is £10 and they want 20. We wouldn't put someone forward because we'd just be shooting ourselves in the foot when it comes to, you know, that kind of wrap up piece. So we kind of like to stick within the ranges because that gives us some sort of, I guess, security in terms of, like, we know that even if it performs on the conservative side, we know that we can hit the targets. So I wouldn't want to jeopardize that kind of client trust or whatever by putting someone in that we don't feel their fee is reflective of their actual impact.
Yeah, I like that. The due diligence is really important, isn't it, when selecting?
Well, I guess that's why brands hire agencies, right? You know, we know better. We do this every day. So, like, kind of giving that trust of, like, I know that you can, you know, seed it down and kind of strategically put a short list together that is aligned and will deliver. Like, that's essentially the service we offer, right?
Yeah, exactly. A partner, right? At the end of the day. But yeah, do you, with that, like, do you have any examples or have areas where you're seeing that brands are still overspending or not seeing return on certain aspects of influencer marketing?
I think there's a real, it's funny. I think the kind of the client sort of journey and demographic really dictates their appetite for influencer marketing, in the sense that we had a kind of, we do a lot of kind of nano large scale creator campaigns, and we had a client that was trying to drive app downloads and getting clicks to site and stuff like that, and they were very set on that having to be on TikTok. But obviously on TikTok it's not that easy to get onto a website from the platform. I think TikTok is trying as hard as possible to keep you on the platform, to shop, to engage, to entertain, and all of that. So that's where we kind of then were like, we'll do this, which will have, you know, brand value and reach value and all of that, and it can, you know, support conversions. But in terms of, like, how much it can drive in terms of clicks and conversions, I'm not sure. And lo and behold, it didn't really do what we wanted it to do on the kind of ROI side when it came to downloads. But then now we switched to kind of what we initially suggested, which was, you know, a very Insta story heavy campaign with an easy click through. And so, you know, clients, I think, as long as they're part of that education piece and part of the journey, kind of come along with us. And I guess the cool thing with influencer marketing, I guess, if we do our jobs right and, you know, we're not overpaying and we know they'll deliver and we'll get kind of value, you can't really lose. Because all that, you know, even from this campaign, a lot of that content has been repurposed for paid, and we bought the rights to do that. And so there's been a lot of value anyway. But I guess it kind of ties back to that initial point of, like, they want it all. So how do we then prioritize effectively?
Yeah, and I think that's a good point, like the whole TikTok shop, and I guess social commerce is another thing, right, when it comes to influencer marketing. Do you think the brands you're working with or have worked with, do you think they're moving fast enough to take advantage of these platforms?
I think on the whole, yes. I think obviously TikTok Shop wants to market themselves as this sort of get rich scheme. So we have to do a lot of, like, undoing of, you know, beliefs and thoughts. The first one being that every affiliate in the world is going to want my product the day I launch, and they're going to start selling it the next day. Like, that's how TikTok sort of pitches it to them, and we have to sort of reverse engineer that and kind of set expectations and take them through the journey. But I would say on the whole, people seem to be very open to new channels, and I think that's partly due to the fact that the old channels are just not doing what they used to do. I don't think I've spoken to any marketer or agency owner that said, like, oh, like, Meta's just getting better month by month. You know, it just gets harder. And the tracking is harder and the ROI kind of is a lot more volatile than it used to be, and stuff like that. So I think, given that's the kind of landscape, I think then when there's things like TikTok Shop, where it's like actually it's another marketplace to try something, I think people are a lot, the appetite's a lot higher.
Yeah, there's I guess there's a lot of variables that come into play, right? With social channels in general, like the whole compliance thing. Again, politics, social economy plays a huge part in it. So I understand that brands are kind of jumping on the next bandwagon, thinking that they're promised one thing, but then you as the agency have to come in and kind of re-educate them and kind of repackage the messaging, right? And be like, this is actually not what they're trying to do. We can help you kind of build a proper strategy long term. And it's not, like you said, a get rich quick scheme kind of thing that they advertise themselves for. And I can't ask this. I mean, I can't not skip asking this because I'm talking to you from Monumental, obviously, and you've built Monumental on the belief that diverse and authentic creator partnerships deliver stronger results, right? And at CoSquare, we believe in responsible, authentic influencer marketing. So when you look at how brands are structuring their influencer budgets for the rest of 2025 and beyond in 2026, where does diversity fit in? Do you see clients allocating budget intentionally to build kind of more representative and authentic campaigns? What is that with that kind of like, what are you seeing now at the end of 2025?
I'm trying to organize it in my head because this is
there's a lot.
I could do a sort of 3-hour TED talk just on this, but I guess there's a couple of aspects to it. So the first one is, if we look at it just from a platform point of view, people see people like them, and whether that's kind of in demographic or look or ethnicity, sexuality, whatever it might be, that's what the algorithms are geared towards. We know that if we feel represented and reflected in content and media, we're way more likely to follow it through, engage, watch, click, whatever. So from an interest-based algorithm point of view, which everything is moving towards, it would be silly not to reflect society in your marketing, because you're then just missing out on all these people who can tell your story in a way that's authentic to them and their communities. I think when it then touches on the point of authenticity, I think that's where having too strict a ratio or number, like, I think that's where it kind of strips the authenticity a little bit, because kind of putting minorities into categories and adding a number next to them just feels a bit too tick boxy. So I think where it feels authentic to do so, and you're already engaging with that community, and there's a clear narrative, 1,000% you should do it. But I think if it just becomes a tick box exercise, then definitely avoid it, because it's just not going to land. We do a lot of that with like Lululemon and stuff like that, where we kind of look at communities that they are already engaging with, and ask for their engagement, essentially, in telling the story and why it fits them. But I definitely have clients that I wouldn't recommend targeting certain communities with, because that the story doesn't fit. Like, their brand has done nothing within that community, has no messaging for that community. So then that's where it then ends up feeling inauthentic.
Yeah, I guess relatability and cultural relevance is so important to this, right? Because you don't want to seem kind of tone deaf in kind of just jumping on the bandwagon and doing the whole greenwashing, pinkwashing thing. So yeah, great answer. And last question for me actually is, if you were advising a CMO for a brand with only one experimental budget line in 2026, where would you tell them to invest it? It's a big question. It's a big question. Just one experimental budget line.
I would probably say, and as a TikTok partner, I might get shot for this, but I would probably say looking at kind of emerging community channels. They have an insane level of engagement and are so kind of deeply rooted within communities. I mean, we work with one called We Are Eight, and the engagement on there, like, there's fair enough, there's way less people than Instagram has, but the engagement on there is insane. So I think if you do have experimental budget, kind of chucking more into stuff that you've already done, is, you know, you're kind of not really going to get that opportunity to see what else is out there. So I think when it comes to, especially at the point that we're at now, of like the power of community and all of this, I think looking at some of maybe these smaller platforms and what they can deliver versus some of the bigger ones in terms of how scalable that is, that might be a bit restricted. But if it's a case of like, could we do this better somewhere else, I think looking at kind of platforms like that might be a cool idea.
Oh, I like that advice. Smaller platforms. Do you have any examples of any ones that you're experimenting with, or that you've seen?
As I say, We Are Eight is the one that
We
we're
Are Eight.
working with. Yeah, I've just never seen engagement rates that high.
What is that due to? Do you want to give a little?
Yeah, it's very community driven.
Nice.
Very, very community driven. There's no real like intense algorithms. It's very, their whole thing is kind of making social again. So it's none of this run off into like a rabbit hole of information. It's very popular with publishers and content creators because on each piece of content you can tag a link. So again, when it comes to brands, it's really easy to then just add a link. And, you know, when we're talking about influencer marketing having to deliver and, you know, what's the, you know, the click through and what's the journey, I mean, this platform literally allows each post to have a direct link attached to the post. So that's where it's kind of interesting for me. I think in terms of interface, pretty similar to TikTok in terms of that kind of portrait scroll. But as I say, each piece of content can have a tagged link.
Oh, amazing. I'll have to check that out, actually. We Are Eight.
And the founder is awesome. She's so cool.
Yeah? Really?
Yeah, so cool. Yeah, very, very kind of, what's the word? It's a very values-driven platform, and you get paid to watch ads. So if, as a user, you have a We Are Eight wallet, and every ad you watch, you get money, and you decide then what to do with that money. You can either take it out or you can donate it to charity. And I think about 60% of that kind of ads revenue all goes to charities on the platform. So again, when we're looking at like communities, you know that Gen Z is a lot more purpose driven than other demographics. Platforms like that have that insane engagement because they've really understood the audience and understood what they care about. So again, when it comes to then brands kind of playing in those on those platforms, it doesn't only mean a bit of additional engagement. It also positions you as, you know, someone who's aligned to that purpose-driven, nicer side of things.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. I need to check that one out for sure. That's very cool. Well, that brings us to the end of our discussion, but I just want to open it up to any questions that we might have. So if anyone has any questions, we'll give you a couple of seconds to drop them in the chat. Cool. We have one here that is, what are your thoughts, Jamie, on AI influencers? Do you think creators will need to consider AI cloning as a viable route to scale their brand? Big question.
Big question.
Yeah, big.
So I did a lot of work on this with Business Insider around AI influencers and kind of what's there, you know, I think like the Lil Michaelas and stuff like that. But I understand that this is more as real people, should we be cloning ourselves? I guess recent data shows that actually a lot of AI uptake is more hype driven than the reality. And I think the point that we're at is, like with anything new, we want to try it with everything and then see what sticks. So I think influencers will definitely use AI when it comes to maybe looking at, look at all my content, what performs best, what hooks do I use, almost to help it as a little bit maybe of a content strategist, in terms of then whether they'll create AI versions of themselves. I'm not sure that will, I don't really see that as being something that will blow up massively. I think influencers will maybe try things out. I think most recently, do you know Natalie at Boss Babe? She's created an AI version of herself as a product,
Nice,
because
right?
she's a key opinion leader. She's scaled, multi-million-pound brands. So she's developed this kind of, I guess, like marketing consultant version of herself as an AI, to offer value to her audience, by having that kind of essentially conversations that feel like they're with her, but they're with her AI.
Right.
So yeah, maybe influencers will kind of look into it from that point of view of like, can AI allow me to engage more and more personally with my community? But I'm not sure they'll go heavy on the content creation side in terms of clothing.
Yeah, I feel you on that. I think there's a lot of experimentation with the tool itself, like you said, for kind of like ideation and like a partner to bounce kind of strategy with or content ideation, right? So yeah, great answer. Thank you. We have another one here. Does the client give you the goal and then you recommend a budget, or they give you the budget and you recommend the campaign that fits it?
That's a really good question, and I think clients would want to answer in a way that, I mean, the conversation that I feel I have most times with, especially with smaller brands, is like, well, how much do we need to achieve X? And that's very much like, well, how long is a piece of string? I think the best clients and the best way to work with us is very much like, this is my budget, this is what I want to achieve, what is possible within that? Because then at least we're working within reality and not ideals. So we've moved, very much to a model where it's like, what's the budget or the budget range, and what is it that you're hoping to achieve? Influencer market, and I know you've kind of reflected this in the report as well, of kind of moving away from like, oh well, if you want an Instagram guy, it's 120 quid or whatever it is. But because there's so many nuances within platforms in terms of like, oh, is this a story piece of content, or is it a still? Is it an image, or is it a video? Is it a spoken to camera with product, or is it more of a lifestyle piece? There's so many nuances. So depending on, the budget and the goal, we'll tap into all these nuances to maximize the return. As I kind of mentioned with the example earlier of like, we actually just want app downloads. It's like, okay, get rid of all the nice to have and get the cheaper placement that will get that. So I think in terms of keeping that relationship and partnership really clear, honest, and transparent, it's always best to start with, this is my budget, this is what I want to get, what can you offer? And what usually then tends to happen is we'll have a think and maybe develop 3 options, some that will be hyper focused on that, and some that may have additional benefits such as like content repurposing or ads or whatever. But that's a very long-winded way of saying client gives us budget and goal, and we work out the best possible cocktail and matrix to kind of smash that goal.
Amazing. Wow. Great answers. It looks like we don't have any more questions, so I guess we'll leave it at that. Amazing. So this brings us to the end. Thank you everyone for joining. Jamie, thank you so much for coming on as our special guest. Morgan, thank you for sharing the partner referral as well. If you haven't already downloaded the full report, you can do so by just scanning the QR code on your screen. Again, the report dives deeper into all of the insights we've shared today, including our campaign versus budget matrix, which is in the report itself, where it shows where brands are getting the best value for their influencer spend. So yeah, it breaks down the campaign types and what deliver quick wins, like micro influencers, affiliates, and activations, versus kind of bigger bets that require more investment, but drive bigger, larger scale brand impact. So yeah, if you want to kind of benchmark your 2026 strategy or see how your budgets stack up, please be sure to grab the report. And yeah, on behalf of CoSquare and Jamie and Morgan, we really appreciate your time today. And we look forward to continuing the conversation, whether that's on social, email, hit us up. Oh, so amazing. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much. See you later.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much. Bye-bye.